What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial from Monster by Shawn Mendes and Justin Bieber. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button and let me know down in the comments below what other songs by Shawn Mendes or Justin Bieber that you want to learn on guitar. Guys, the first thing you want to know to play Monster on guitar is that in order to get rid of some bar chords and keep this song as beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 5th fret. And if you don't have a capo, I'll have a link to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing that you want to know from Monster is the structure of this song. We're going to start with a verse, then go to chorus, then we're going to have another verse and another chorus, and that'll take us out of the song. And the last thing that you want to know before we dive into Monster is the 4 chords that you need to play this song. The first one is A minor 7. The next one is G. The next one is D minor over F sharp. And the last one is F major 7. And I'll have chord charts for all of those in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Monster. Oh, what a cool collab from 2 amazing artists. 2 of the top artists in the pop game right now collabing on a song that's just unreal. So as soon as I heard this one and I saw a ton of requests for it, even just overnight, last night, I knew I had to share this one with you guys as quickly as possible. So the cool thing about this song is that it is very beginner friendly because we just have those 2 parts, the verse and the chorus, and both are pretty straightforward and easy. So most beginners should have no problem with this song at all. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the verse, because that's the first thing that we hear in the song. So for the verse is basically what we're doing is we're going to be following the bass line of the chord progression that we're using for the choruses. Now, that sounds maybe a little bit confusing if you're a beginner, but I promise it's a lot easier than it sounds. Literally, all that means is that we're going to have a very, very simple picking pattern that's going to play through all of our verses to match up with that kind of bass sound that's being played in the verses of the song. So let's start breaking down this little bass line verse picking pattern thing. We're going to start here with an open A string. And basically what we're going to do for each note of this is we're going to pick 2 pairs of that note for each note. So that sounds a little confusing for beginners out there, I'm sure, but what that actually looks like is for this open A, we're going to pick A. Just about like that. And you want it to be kind of jumpy, kind of bouncy like that. You can just pick it straight in series, but what you want to do is kind of give it that feel that. And all that is that's just the open A string twice in 2 pairs, basically. So again, A. Just about like that. And that's going to be our first note. The next note we're going to go to is going to be a 3rd on the low E. We're going to do the same exact thing there. 2 pairs of 2 plucks of that note in that same kind of bouncy feel. So E, just about like that. And then next we're going to take that same kind of feel and we're going to bring it down 1 fret to the 2nd on the low E. Same thing here, we're going to go E, just like that. And then last one, we're going to take it down here to the 1st fret of the low E. And same thing here, that same bouncy 2 pairs of 2 plucks. It'll be E. Just about like that. And then that's the whole progression. We repeat that over and over again for our verses. Now, a couple quick notes about the feel of this, because that's a really simple little progression. All it is open A, 3rd low E, 2nd low E, 1st low E. Really, really simple beginner-friendly progression, but the obvious important part here is making sure that you get that feel down, because it does have this kind of jazzy, kind of percussive feel. There's really not a lot of guitar in that part. There's just kind of that little bass line, but there is drums. So what you want to do is you want to kind of emulate those drums a little bit, especially if you're playing this on acoustic guitar, and give it this kind of percussive, jazzy feel. So the way that I'm doing that is by using a technique called palm muting. If you don't know what palm muting is, all it is taking the soft part of your picking or strumming hand right here and resting it really softly on the strings near the bridge while you're picking. What that does is that gives you this little bit of a muted and percussive sound. It's a little bit of an intermediate technique, but this is a beginner-friendly enough pattern that it should be easy enough for beginners to get this down as well. All it is just very simply resting your fingers right there just to give it that little bit of muted, muffled sound, and then you get this. Just about like that, and it sounds a lot more accurate to the song. The other thing I want to recommend to any beginners out there for this little pattern too is rather than picking down, down, whenever you pick down, up, about like that. It just gives it that little bit more jazzy feel. It's a little easier to get to, especially if you're a beginner. So, like I said, we're going to go down, up, 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 down, up. Just about like that. And those two techniques right there will really make that very simple picking pattern sound a lot more accurate to what's actually being played in the verses of this song. So guys, this is already a fairly slow picking pattern. Usually for stuff like this, I would actually play it through really slowly, but it's already pretty slow and it's already pretty simple. So I'm not gonna do a slow playthrough of this one, but a couple of times full speed through that little picking pattern that's gonna repeat through all of the verses on Monster will look about like this. And finally, guys, that's going to bring us to the only other thing that we need to know for this song, and that is our choruses. For our choruses, we're just going to have one chord progression and one strum pattern that's going to repeat through all of the choruses, and it's pretty beginner friendly. So let's take a look at that chord progression. Our chord progression for our choruses is going to be A minor 7, G, D minor over F sharp, and F major 7. And that's going to repeat through all of our choruses. Now, let's take a look at the strum pattern we're going to be using for each chord. We'll use our A minor 7 here as our example. For each chord, our strum pattern is going to look about like this. We're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up. So basically down, up 3 times, but the last down, up is a quick one. So again, down, up, down, up, down, up. Just about like that, and we'll switch chords. So a little walkthrough of what that's going to look like with our whole progression is about like this. We'll go down, up, 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 again, down, up, 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 down, up. Just about like that, repeated through all of our choruses. And I wanted to point out real quick too, if you've made it this far, you're probably okay with it, but those last 2 chords, the D minor over F sharp and the F major 7, those may look intimidating, but I promise that they're not as tricky as they seem. I will actually put some beginner ways to play both of those chords in the pinned comment below if you need them, but I would recommend trying to get those full chords down because it sounds really accurate to the song and they're actually easier than they look. I know that's easy for me to say as a non-beginner guitarist, but I would recommend, even if you're a beginner, to just practice those chords because they sound really, really good in this song as the full chord is played, and they're really not as hard as they look. So, guys, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a chord progression and a strum pattern for that chorus part, and then the very simple picking pattern that you're going to be playing for your verses. This is a very beginner-friendly song. But with all that in mind, guys, a couple of times through that chorus, chord progression, and strum pattern, without me talking, will look about like this. And guys, that is everything you need to know to play Monster on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 800 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there could not be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to see where I'm traveling right now, what songs I'm jamming on, or pictures of my dog, you can hit up my Instagram at the Groovy Guitar Dude. Link for that will be in the description below. And lastly, guys, if you want to support the channel and get your name in the credits at the end of each new guitar tutorial, you can hit up my Patreon at patreon.com/thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below as well. Guys, a Shawn Mendes, Justin Bieber collab is something I feel like we were all hoping and waiting for and wanting, and just I didn't know that this was coming. I don't know if they made any announcements. I hadn't been following super closely, but it was a complete surprise to me. Michelle, Guitar Goddess, messaged me this song last night, like right when it first came out, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to teach this as quickly as I possibly can, because I knew there would be a ton of you guys that wanted to learn this one. Because I knew there would be a ton of people that wanted to learn this song, and I already have gotten so many requests, even just after about a day of this song being out by the time that you guys are seeing this. So guys, this is a great song for beginner guitarists, because again, for the verse, we just have that very simple picking pattern. You can just use a couple of techniques to make that really get the right feel of that picking pattern. And that chord progression and strum pattern that we're using for our choruses is also pretty beginner friendly as well. The only thing that's a little bit tricky about that is that D minor over F sharp chord. And again, that one is one of those that it looks really complicated and it sounds really complicated, but if you just give that one some practice, you'll probably get that one down quicker than you think you will. It's actually a little easier than it sounds like it would be. But other than that, guys, this is a great song. It's so cool to see these two artists collaborating, and I just love it. And I love a great beginner guitar song like this that I know a lot of people are going to be excited about. I could totally see a song like this getting some people interested in guitar initially, and that is something that's really exciting to me, is whenever there's songs that come out that I know are going to inspire new guitarists. So with all that in mind, guys, I had a lot of fun learning this song. I hope you have a lot of fun learning it as well, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.